for retirement can start today. From the News Channel 5 Network, this is the Retirement Report.
Good morning. Welcome to the Retirement Report. I'm Hank Parrott, your host. All right, we're going to be talking this morning about retirement plans. Maybe you have a 401k or a 403b or 457, maybe the thrift savings plan, the TSP through your work. So some type of company-sponsored retirement plan either you or your spouse may have. And you're wondering, maybe you said when you set that up, you looked at all those choices and you thought, man, how do I make sense of this? And you're trying to figure out which ones to go, and you didn't have a lot of information. Maybe you got a little bit of advice about these are the best performing funds. Maybe I'll just go with those. And maybe you've never looked at it since then. Maybe you just kind of got it set up. You put the money in. Maybe you're hopefully getting some matching from your employer, and you're just letting it ride. Maybe you don't want to look at it because you're afraid what might be there. Or maybe you're one of those folks that is always messing with it. Maybe you're always trying to figure out, well, maybe I can move it over here or over there, and I'll go heavier in this place. Well, that stock seems to be doing good, or that mutual fund seems to be doing better, and you're constantly tweaking it and always looking at it and obsessing about it, what to do with it. All of this is around what I see when new clients come in is that it's because they're just not sure. They're just not sure what to do and how to do it, and what we're going to talk about today. If any of this rings true for you, get ready because it's going to be a great show for you. We're going to talk about those 401ks, how you can make sense of that asset allocation, how you can make sure you're properly invested, and how it can work with your other retirement funds, whether it's in IRAs, whether it's just retirement savings, other investments you may have, how all of that can be put together to give you a cohesive plan. And this is really important as well. We're going to get into the costs. There's a lot of hidden costs in 401ks that you may not be aware of. And even with the new disclosure rules, we find that there's still a lot that you don't know. The prospectus you get, how do you even find the stuff in there? We're going to get into that. So reducing costs is real important because that means more money in your pocket. All right, so that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to get into 401ks, show you how to make the most of those 401ks, save yourself thousands in hidden fees, and put more and more money in your pocket, making this can be worth tens of thousands, maybe even 100,000 or more to you over your retirement lifetime. All right, so before we get into that though, we're going to make it as a part of the show. One of the things I'm going to do, if you own a 401k and you'd like to take advantage of a 401k analysis, I'm going to offer it to you this morning. So for the first 10 callers, this is our offer. Are you ready if you're ready to take control of your retirement, okay, for the first 10 callers on the show today, you can get a free personalized 401k analysis. And in the analysis, you're going to discover strategies to maximize your 401k plan, all of your available options that are best suited for your particular investment goals. We'll look at those and show you how to put them together, how your 401k plan fits into your other retirement accounts and your overall retirement game plan. Strategies to prevent you from paying thousands, if not tens of thousands of dollars in potential penalties and taxes. And finally, strategies on how to roll over your 401k plan when you retire. There's a lot of rules when it comes to 401ks. So for the first 10 callers, again, you can get this free 401k analysis. Just call my office, 376-5325. First 10 callers to the office, 376-5325, and we'll get you the information necessary, get to you a packet, and then from that, I can help you with your 401ks. One of the things when you're looking at your 401k and you're trying to figure out how to invest in it, when I sit down with clients, we go over everything, and you've heard me talk about many times on the show how we start out with the foundational building blocks, if you will, to put together your retirement plan. Well, a big part of that is your investments. How much are you going to make on that? And again, it's not just what you make, it's what you get to keep. So if you're making a good return, but then it's being robbed, let's say those funds, but then you've got, when I say robbed, meaning that there are fees. And I'll give you an example. And this was something that came off of, I believe it's out right off of CBS 60 Minutes, did a report some years ago about 401ks, and he talked about all the different fees. And what's interesting is this report, the first time appearance was I said, about 4 or 5 years ago, and yet not much has changed. There's been new rules that have been put out there, new guidelines with regard to disclosure that's required. But in spite of that, Department of Labor statistics show that 401ks were penalized, I think it was like $1.3 billion billion last year, and that's up from what it was the year before. That's in 2013. I believe it was like 1.37 billion in fees, fines, and the like to 401k company plans, and it had to do with non-compliance. And the other part, when you get into your 401k, you might not realize this, because where do you find this? There are new disclosure rules, but going through a prospectus and trying to find this stuff is hard to do. One of the things you get into, you may have legal fees, trustee fees, transactional fees, stewardship fees, bookkeeping fees, just fees upon fees, finder's fees, and the list goes on. So within all that, and this is where 401ks got into a lot of trouble before, and a lot of class action lawsuits. In fact, there are still class action lawsuits today ongoing against companies because they are being sued for not fulfilling their fiduciary responsibility. So you want to look at your 401k and see how it works. And if you'd like to find out more about that, get in touch with me and I'll help you with that as well. And of course, you're welcome to call today. There's a number on your screen, 737-PLUS, 737-7587. If you've got questions about your 401k, if you've got, again, any retirement plan, IRAs, Roth IRAs, if you've got the option, traditional versus Roth, which is the best, we can talk about that, of course, and I'm going to get into it this morning a little bit. In addition, one of the things that one should be thinking about on your own 401k, or maybe if you're an employer, you may want to, this is a good time for you maybe take a, listen here about your own 401k plan at work that maybe you've helped set up. You set it up probably with good intent. You want to help your your employees be able to save for retirement, provide a great benefit to them. Through that also, by providing great benefits, you're going to hopefully attract better employees to your company. So it's usually good intentions, let's say, that these are set up, these 401k plans as an example, through employers. Unfortunately, they may not realize that within that they have a responsibility, and this can come back to employer. I mentioned these class action lawsuits as an example. If they don't have set up within that plan appropriate investments for the employees. And for the employees, the hard part is trying to figure that out. Are you getting any good advice from the plan administrators on how to invest, how to even figure out how to invest, how to put that all together? And there's an ongoing argument again about active versus passive management. A lot of the 401ks out there, and I look at them every day, that people bring into my office, and they have actively managed funds. In fact, it's almost all they have. It's rare that I see an index fund. Now, today, I'm starting to see that a little more frequently, but still not anywhere near what you would really need to put together the best portfolio options within that 401k. So the problem with actively managed funds, there are a number of things, but one of them, again, has to do with costs and fees, and the fact that these fees and costs, to try to overcome them and get a market return, research shows us just hasn't been done. Time and time again, the research shows us basically that, as an example, the S&P 500 index, which is Standard & Poor's 500 index, these are the 500 largest companies in the United States. They make up about 70% of the market equity, by the way, equity in the market, if you will. The Standard & Poor's 500 index outperforms over 90% of equity mutual funds out there. Now, that's because of these actively managed funds, right? How are you going to beat that? Well, one of the things that we see with the S&P 500 index is it just represents one asset category. So over the last 4 or 5 years, that has been a very good asset category to be in, but that tells us going forward that maybe things, we might want to be more diversified. So the problem with that long run is then that typically means also it's going to go through a period of correction possibly. We're going to get into that as well. But the market and what one of the federal bank people had to say about what may be coming in the market. So a lot we're going to get into this morning. Stay tuned with us. We're going to take a quick break. Join us here. We'll be right back on the Retirement Report.